Hi, everyone. Happy solar eclipse. Oh, wow. It's so good to be here as always. And it is a very powerful day today. I'm glad that we are getting the chance to do the goddess report live right at the eclipse time. The eclipse is happening tonight. It's happening I believe it will be 9:12 p.m. Pacific time in California, and it will be just after midnight here on the East Coast. So we're going to, I want to go right into everything today. I know I've been really sharing a lot and talking a lot in the past live streams that we've done with the Goddess Report. So I want to tell you that there is just so much information starting with the video we did for winter solstice in December 2022, and then up through the spring equinox in the northern hemisphere. We've been sharing a lot about Neptune. We've been sharing a lot about Saturn entering Aries or entering Pisces. And now today, we've also really been focusing on Aries energy, and Aries energy is tremendously important right now. And so we're going to really talk about this eclipse. I'm just going to take a second, look down, kind of gather myself, and then we'll dive right into it. We will start with looking at the energy of the eclipse. We'll look right at the planets and just look at the main themes of the eclipse. And then I will go into, we're going to talk a lot about the traumatization of the human race right now, and the influences that everyone is under right now, because these energies, I will say this, that the past few weeks have been more intense in the lower astral realms, in the etheric realms, than ever before in this cycle on planet Earth. We are living in times of a tremendous amount of stimulation from spiritual energy, energetics that are unseen just in the ether. And then on top of that, we have technology, which is a whole new game that we entered into starting in the 90s and then the early 2000s. But we're at kind of a peak before we tip over into another level. And so things are very serious right now, very heightened right now. I wanted to remember this. Okay. I want to remember to ask you if there's anything that each of you want to share about what you're experiencing right now, because I'd really love to hear from you how you're experiencing being in your body. There's a lot of issues right now with disembodiment and dissociation from the physical realm and from the our physical vehicle. So that's a big part of this energy right now. We'll talk about that. So I want to hear about how you're feeling in your body, your human flesh, and I'm interested in your relationships, in your day to day, how you are feeling integrated or not, isolated or stimulated, whatever it is that's happening. Please feel free to share. And also, I'd love to hear where you're tuning in from. That's one of my favorite things to look back and see. We get so many places from around the world, and it's so much fun. So I'm going to take a peek, say hi, then we'll look right at the eclipse. Okay. All right. So nice to see you. Okay, I'm just going to scroll through really quick. Oh, Dania, so nice to see you. Kathia, Patricia, Nasreen, Susan, Queen Star Sophia. Love it. Trisha, nice to see you. Lisa, hi. Lucy, so glad you can make it. Kath, lovely. Brianne, Kath, Lucy, Kath. Aloha, Sue, and Trisha. So nice to see you. And Danielle. Oh, yay. And Charlotte. Oh, and Sonia. Okay, so good to have you here. Let's take a moment. Let's just say I am in the seven directions to kind of sync up our energy. Let me know where you're at. Yoga and dance. Okay, so we're just going to dive in. Nesreen just said she's been feeling really drawn to yoga and dance. I'm glad you brought that up right away. Nice to see you from Houston. And oh, so nice to see you. I know you're in London. Good to see you. Okay. What I want to say to you is now more than ever before, having a physical practice is really important. Um, you want to really have, and I've been doing a lot of yoga, I've been doing a lot of singing and chanting, movement, dance, also meditation. Find a place that you can go, and eventually I'm going to have everything set up here where I'm actually teaching light body yoga today, right when I get off of this live stream. But and someday I'm eventually going to be very soon offering light body yoga live, and creating a more a specific space for people to come on a, just to have those experiences of tuning in spiritually, even though here we do that, but we anchor in a lot of information. It gets pretty up in the mind a lot, which is fine. But take care of your body right now. Yoga and dance and whatever kind of yoga. I know there's so many different kinds, but find a place that feels good for you, where you can really move and stretch and open up in a way that's soothing, but yet that keeps you connected to your body and your breath during these times. It's very important. Find the music, whether it's spiritual music, that feels really good. You have to have your bag of things that soothe you, that make you feel good, that activate that spiritual impulse, because these will be the things that save us, as well as being able to call up a loved one or a friend just to say hello. If you're feeling isolated, there's a lot of isolation right now. So thank you for bringing that up. And oh, Costa Rica. Oh my gosh. So nice to hear from you from Costa Rica. Okay. From Cape Town. Nice. No, nice to see you. I'm experiencing most intense, difficult, painful external circumstances. Okay, thank you for sharing that. I recognize you. So yeah, there's a lot of pain and a lot of trauma. So I'm just going to dive right into it. I will have one sip of my tea and we'll get going. Okay, today is the solar eclipse, total solar eclipse in Aries. This is the very first time that we're having a solar eclipse in Aries since 2006. I just realized today that the last solar eclipse in Aries, I was giving in 2006 a huge workshop in New York City at an equinox on the Upper East Side, teaching light body yoga. It was one of my first really big workshops. And it was, so the cycle of this time is actually really connected to light body yoga. And I'm teaching it today. But think about where you were at in 2006, because there's a connection between right now and the last time that there was a solar eclipse in Aries. So we also have, this is a hybrid solar eclipse. I just read that last night. It's a hybrid. So it starts out as a ring of fire, and then it moves and becomes a total loss of light, a total solar eclipse where it goes dark. So these are really powerful archetypes and symbolism. And that darkness and shutting out the sun is really connected to Pluto and the underworld of darkness and Hades and Scorpio. And so we have today, this on the 19th-20th, we have the total solar eclipse in Aries, but on May 5th, we will have a lunar eclipse in Scorpio. And I talk about that in the goddess report. So these are really, Aries and Scorpio are serious energies that have to do with war and sex. And so these are two huge influences that are on the planet right now. Let's say a quick I am, so we can just raise the vibration, call in some protection, and then we'll go into some of the deeper messages about this eclipse. Okay, so I just want you to so I am, when we say I am in the seven directions, I am is really, it's the Christ force, it's the Christic light, it's which is that universal power that is so important to understand right now. It's our spirit. It's our Holy Spirit. There's a male aspect and a female aspect to it. But when we tune in, and oftentimes I'll even say Christ in the seven directions or Christos, that I know that has a context that strikes a religious chord, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. It's attached to religion. We think of Christ or as the Christ Jesus or Christ Sophia, but the Christ is I believe it's Greek Christos, and it's the universal creator. It's the universal imagination and I am. It's the logos that creates. And so when we call upon that energy within our own heart, it has a very close connection to Leo too. It activates that light in our field and it just brings us into our holiness. And so just repeating after me, seeing that light flood your aura in the direction that we say, saying, I am before me. I am behind me. I am at my left. I am at my right. I am above me. I am below me. I am unto me. And take a nice deep breath in. As you breathe in, just suspend the breath and just make an intention for the solar eclipse. It's happening in, I don't know, about 8 hours or so, maybe 10. And so just making it an intention and then exhaling all your breath out. We activate the three levels of consciousness, the divine, the spiritual, and the physical with I am, I know, I am. I am, I am, I know, I am. And so I was working last night. I think it was last night about about the silent word. Yeah, it was last night. I was doing some chanting and chanting out loud and then inwardly and working with that difference between the inner plane and the outer plane. And when we speak inwardly, we move the astral energies and we move energies inwardly that we're not so easily able to move outwardly. So outwardly is governed by time and space. Outward responds very powerfully to the spoken word, the physical plane. The inward word, the silent word, corresponds to the divine plane. So you can bring in energies silently, speaking inwardly, that you might not be privy to yet on the outer plane. So it's very powerful to pray inwardly. And then when we work with a whisper, whispering, when we whisper, we access the heart and we access the spiritual plane, the spiritual dimension. The heart dimension responds to like a lower voice and a whisper. It's like when you're talking to a child or when you're talking to an animal, you're talking affectionately, or when you move in or whisper something in someone's ears, you're calling upon heart energy. You take it down, but you pierce inwardly. It's more, even though it's softer, it's more potent for going into the heart. When we yell or speak full voice, it doesn't necessarily grab our heart, but it grabs our mind and it grabs our auric field. So that's why we do those three levels of I am. So let's look at the solar eclipse. So the solar eclipse, and that's all really connected to this Aries energy as well. So there's a lot of Neptune energy on the planet. I just want to start by saying that if you feel like you've been seeing the crazies everywhere you look, I mean, going through any social media feed, it's like, what happened between 2022 and 2023? Neptune is what happened. Neptune rules this year. And Neptune is so creative and it pushes boundaries. It breaks down all boundaries. It's very watery and it's highly creative. So, and it can be creative for good or bad. It can be creative to deceive or to empower. But there's a lot of creative energy, and so that's why like fashion and film and all kinds of like visual mediums and social media are at a different level That's a good thing, but it can also be a distraction because it can also just be like the house of mirrors, all these pretty designs everywhere, but nothing has substance, which is I'm seeing a lot of that too. It can it's like the enchantress. It draws us in and then we realize we look at it, look at it, look at it, and then it's just empty. So this is a time of using the creative imagination, marrying it to spiritual energy and true intention, and making your creations really embodied with the archetypal energy that they're meant to carry so that they pierce, they don't just take the mind on a it's like it's like when you do psychedelics. It's psychedelics are mostly they can be fun, they can be good. I know there's a lot going on. I will also say psychedelics, all of these like medicines are all ruled by Neptune. So this is a huge year for experimental kinds of substances, and also addiction is ruled by seven. But you when you just have the picture show without the true substance behind it, it eventually loses its power. It's like pornography. It's like when if someone's consuming, I'm using that as an example because Neptune also rules pornography, that you look at it and you just it's like the person who engages in that so much just needs more, more. Like you can't get that same high or that same arousal because you realize it's empty. And so you're looking for a greater charge, and you get it, but then it's empty. So eventually that energy turns on you and depletes your aura. This is the one of the keys to the times we're living in, that consuming emptiness. We're being taken to a time where we remember the touch of a loved one, being in the presence of a human being, where you can hear their breath and see their eyes and smell them. Because everything has become so separated that we're going to return to a time of realizing the organic light in nature, and it's really, really important. We're going to understand what matters, because what matters is the real portal. True love is the portal to the soul energy. The realms of the soul are what are real, and the realms of the soul, this is all in the goddess report today, are connected to the divine will, not the little will. They're connected to the goddess, the divine, the divinity of the goddess. So this eclipse today is conjunct Jupiter and Eris, the disruptor. It's in the very, very, very beginning of Aries. You couldn't be more towards the end of it. It's entering, I think it's 29.49. It's the very, very, it's just tiptoeing into Aries, but it's a powerhouse because the eclipse is square Pluto. Pluto is newly in Aquarius, and the Pluto energy is so intense right now. It's acting upon the planet. Pluto is also squaring the nodes, the south node in Scorpio, ruled by Pluto, and the north node in Taurus. So we have the nodes squaring by Pluto, and of course the eclipses are always conjunct the nodes, and so it's also squaring this total solar eclipse and this ring of fire eclipse. Pluto is the ring of fire. So this is a really, really powerful energy, and it's exact. So the massive Pluto energy is death, rebirth, but it's regeneration, it's control, it's domination, it's power struggles, it's being overcome and dominated with fear, with loss. It can even feel like depression, that Scorpio energy that's really low and depressed and that turns on itself. So just be aware of these energies with Pluto and take care of yourself. We're going to talk about how we can harness the power of the solar eclipse for positive power. And we've been talking a lot about that. Mercury and oh my gosh, oh yes, I did see Mercury's conjunct Uranus and Taurus, just a couple degrees away. I think it's 15 and 17. I believe Mercury's at 15 and Uranus at 17. So Mercury's conjunct the energy of Uranus, and that's big. That is, let's just see what's coming through that. It's the mind, and it's also revelations around Uranus. Uranus rules Aquarius. There's a lot of activity happening on the planet with the financial system. I mean, it looks like that's what it's about. There's revelations coming around the financial system. The financial system has been changing. We're moving into, some digital systems, and there's a lot to be said about that. But there is definitely, I believe the U.S. dollar as the petrodollar is changing and shifting. There's a whole new configuration on the geopolitical spectrum right now between nation states and unified forces, the Eastern Bloc, the Western Bloc. There's a whole that is connected to the Pluto energy as well. The world is shifting. When I say massive shift and transformation on the planet like we've never seen, it's at that level. And it's interesting because I also talked a lot about perception versus reality. There was a video we did called The Divine Feminine Reset. It was for the US Pluto return. It was on February 22nd, 2022, the 22222 portal. And we talked about perception versus reality. We're going to be talking about perception. That's what the whole goddess report is about because it's huge right now. So this eclipse is a time to release, to break free, to live authentically. The darkness of Pluto and the underworld are highlighted, the loss of light. We're going through a time where collectively the human race is losing our light. We're losing our way. In the collective, there's a lot of blurriness. There's a lot of caught in the labyrinth energy. And so it's a time for a lot of compassion and really, really anchoring into our power, getting comfortable in the confusion, because there's probably going to be more and more and more. So we want to learn to be okay with things being chaotic so that we can navigate and rise into our true power. Neptune wild energy, the chaos also that's being projected onto the planet intentionally is opening the dark portals of every individual person. There's a lot of subconscious energy in the field. And that's when we talk about chaos and the labyrinth, the entities of the subconscious mind are out. Okay, so here we go. Humanity is in a state of trauma and on some levels very frozen right now. Please feel free to leave any comments around any of these things. Nice to see you, Maggie. Conjuncts your 28 Aries Venus. Wow, that's powerful. Liberty. Oh, nice to see you, Melissa. So I have, and Anya, nice to see you. And Maggie, so nice to see everybody. I have the eclipse exactly trine my ascendant in Leo. So yeah, look at the house that the eclipse is falling in. Look at the planets that it aspects. And that will really, you can do that between now and the eclipse. It will really tell you what is being activated for you. So humanity is in a state of trauma right now. And some of us are frozen. Some are reaching for old addictions or ways to soothe, or just to medicate and make it through these times. We need to go to the deeper dimensions to gain the energy to see clearly and to understand each other. The temporal wars, etc., do not access the spirit. So a lot of this is the temporal wars, meaning kind of the mind control, but it's also connected to sexuality. So it's like it's controlling this and then controlling the lower, but the heart is up for grabs. Your heart can choose to go with the lower astral, or your heart can choose to go to claim the higher astral and be a portal into the sacred union and the polarity integration. So that's why we've been talking about claiming the sovereign feminine heart, the heart womb. You have to claim your heart right now. And if you're being just completely sabotaged with negativity and with overstimulation, your heart gets depleted. So you want to find what makes your heart just feel really, really connected and tuned in. People who you love, family, and those things that make you really happy are super important. So let's talk about perception versus reality. So the devil steals our feminine energy through perception. The devil is perception. So perception is changing. And you can test yourself out when you're feeling really negative or really angry. Ask yourself, so once you create a perception, it creates a reality. If I believe this about it, another human being or a situation, it might be part true, it might be part untrue. It's everything is always kind of colored by our own, our own memory, our own DNA. We project our DNA and our codes onto every situation. We can't help it. We have our tribal connections, we have our preferences, we have our past experiences. And so when we see something, all of that computes. And so we create a perception, and then that perception rules our emotional body. Once we believe something and we have that perception, we start to have feelings about it. And the reverse can be true too. We can be having feelings and then all of a sudden we have that perception. Perception is not reality because it's changing all the time. And it can change and we can consciously change it. This is Aries energy, vision. We've talked a lot about the solar light in the mind, the super consciousness that creates real vision. So when we claim our vision, we allow ourselves to process what came up for us. What is our perception? It's important to make a note of it because we can take notes on it and say, why do I feel that way? Okay, what's true? What do I need to understand? And what will be valuable? And what do I need to really, really shift right now in order to maintain my physical vehicle and my health and my ability to navigate this world? Because right now, people who aren't able to reach that power are being overtaken very easily. We see that with all kinds of violence happening on the planet, outbursts of violence, and also like harm, self-harm is really big right now, especially with young people. I read a study about young men and young women, which I will speak to in just a minute. The statistics are staggering. They're unbelievable. The amounts of like suicide ideation and depression, and um with men, it's like detaching from reality, not taking part in society, not having love relationships. Younger people are not having physical connections like they used to, which is natural for people to come together and have, experience some intimacy. All of these things are really shut down right now. It's perception stealing energy. So perception is the devil, and it's malleable, it's moldable. So reality comes through the divine will. The divine will gives us our true vision, and the will is connected to desire. So perception also works with the body of desire, but the divine will is the real deal. That's the real desire of the goddess. That desire is, it's called reality with a capital R because it only works from love. That the key to understanding is, and that's why the Christ or the Christ avatars or masters, the true masters teach love, because it's the only reality. How we love can determine what we create. We can love something so much that we create misery, but love is the only force. Love binds us. If I love something, my consciousness connects to it and binds it. So I can love from the lower place or I can love from power. I won't even call it the higher place. I'll call it power because it's the heart and it's only interested in truth with a capital T. So that means, let's just give an example. And Aries is truth, vision, and that's why real vision opens the heart. Divine love is always wanting to bring in the divine order. It knows, you know what? I have this poem. I can't wait. I'm so happy. I remembered. I photographed this today. I'm going to read it. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay. It's a yoga sutra. It's really short. I'm going to read this in just a moment. Um, so love lifts everything up around us and brings it into the divine order. It starts a vortex. So when you think of the Kundalini rising, the soul descends and then it hits bottom and then it starts to build a vortex. And so you think of the serpent power rising, the Kundalini rising up the spine. That's from the power of love. Love creates a vortex. It's circular and it starts to spin like the dervishes. And it's the energy that uplifts us. That's what divine love is. It's the power to uplift. And so, excuse me. So this true vision is working from that power. And so it knows what it needs at any given moment. It can take this, let that go. It can connect to this, let that go without judgment, but just say, I don't need this right now. I don't need to cast judgment or go into fear over anything. If something's serious, it will make a note of that, but it just knows what to do. And it creates the kingdom that we all live in, where when we're operating from this place, we're connected. All people that operate from that place become part of one, what's the word? One system. We call it in light body yoga and light body woman, we call it the goddess matrix. So we have the lower matrix, we connect into the goddess matrix or the mothership. So all of a sudden, or the divine feminine kingdom, we're in the higher kingdom and we're vibrating with that. And we can speak to people, even if we're different, even if they have different beliefs. We don't need everyone to agree with us because we're not interested in conking anyone else over the head. We're not fearful that their beliefs can affect us because we don't have to be. We don't have to be defensive. Our love alone is the power. So we're in pure emissive power. We receive what we need to receive, and we project what is truthful and what is good and healing for the world. That may mean something, we take something down at some time, but it's from a good place. So this is what I'm going to read. I saw that a woman I'm on Facebook with posted this today. So I'm just going to read it. By cultivating attitudes, this goes into what we're talking about. It's a yoga sutra. It's 133, which I love that number, equals 7. By cultivating attitudes of friendliness towards the happy, compassion for the unhappy, delight in the virtuous, and disregard toward the wicked, the mind stuff retains its undisturbed calmness. I will say it one more time. It's a Yoga Sutra 133. By cultivating attitudes of friendliness toward the happy, compassion for the unhappy, delight in the virtuous, and disregard toward the wicked, the mind stuff retains its undisturbed calmness. So the highest state of the mind is inner peace. I think the Course in Miracles is called the foundation for inner peace. What that means, that peace doesn't necessarily mean it's completely still. It means that it means access. The real meaning of peace is access. When I have peace, I have access to everything. The whole spectrum of the creative imagination, the whole rainbow spectrum belongs to me. I'm activated. But that ultimate state is 0 point. It's calm. It's peace. When I have peace, I'm thinking of the art of war. When you're peaceful, you make better calls. When you're still, you know when to move on the enemy and when to back off. You know what to do. The second we get involved in fear, things get a little murky to really, really murky, to where we're drowning in our own stuff, our own entities. But and what it means by disregard for the wicked is this. So, and I talked about this in a past video. If something is wicked, go around it. It's not denial. Make a note of it and let your energy rearrange it. But there's very few times when you need to engage head on, because if you engage head on, a lot of times it's from the ego or from fear, and then your energy is depleted and you're in a temporal battle and you lose connection to the heart and to the this point of power we're talking about. So this is really hard, and it's been I have to keep going back to it because I know for my work I've been really engaged in taking a look at what's happening, and things have never been more discordant. And sometimes it really pulls me in and I get really, like really upset. And part of that's coming from the divine mother in me that's mad, that has righteous fury and the rage of Kali and the divine mother, and that's okay. But to really hold that, you have to be in the power. You cannot slip out, because if you misuse, if you misstrike, it's no good. You go down with it. And so that's what we mean by seeing, choose your battles, choose, know what you're meant to do, and otherwise go around. And by greeting the happy with happiness, greeting it, that means connect to your brothers and sisters that hold that energy. Because when you connect with people who are in the goddess matrix, you get more, you exchange power. It's like a nod. It's the true meaning of namaste. I recognize you, and I know you recognize me. We are brethren in the city of light that exists in the heart. This is the inner kingdom that is the city of light, and that's where we really operate from in truth. If we have our higher bodies are already working and that level and doing tremendous amounts of work. All right, I got to move through this. So that's real. That's what we mean by see from the divine will. All of that we said, that's the divine will, and that's your power. We are creating the timeline of spirit at this Aries total solar eclipse. Aries is spirit. It's the fire. It's the first moment that the soul touches down on earth. It's the first sign of the zodiac. We're moving into an Aries north node. It's I am before me. I am behind me. I am at my left. I am at my right. I am above me, below me, I am unto me. And then say it for your brother or sister. Like you're claiming your embodiment. Right now, so many people are dissociating and becoming disembodied, and we can be manipulated that way. We want to claim our vehicle. It's holy, it's a holy temple. It's a metaphysical fountain of power. So we want to claim that. So the eclipses alter time and space, and then we're going to read the goddess report. They alter time and space, so they're huge. This is a huge one. This eclipse today, total solar eclipse plus ring of fire, and it's squaring Pluto and conjunct Aries and Jupiter and Vesta, the goddess of alchemy. So the alchemical priestess. So join us to pass through the eclipse portal. So we're passing through a portal with Aries vision, power, love, sovereignty, victory, and we're moving through death into rebirth. When you think about the things that take place in Aries, a lot happens in the sign of Aries. So spring equinox, Easter. Okay. So people are going crazy in these times. It's very real. We need our basic spirituality. We need prayer, worship, devotion. We need to worship at the temple of our inner spirit. We need to slow down, be grateful, be holy, sing. Singing and mantra singing is really, really important. Understanding the power of the word is beyond. It's going to become more and more for the collective as we move into the new world, the new earth, the new era. But if you understand it now, you'll become a teacher. It's really big. Okay. Get out in fresh air, sunlight, breathe the sunlight, and listen to nature. So the population is frozen and traumatized. The amount of violence, this was another writing, sex, deception, this is all Pluto. Remember last video, I talked about how, the South Node in Scorpio would go out with a bang. We're in it right now. I'm just going to take a moment. This is so big. The energies of the Pluto South Node are really, really on with Pluto was squaring the South Node and the North Node, then the dragon's head and the dragon's tail. There's a tremendous kind of psyop happening. It's been going for a very long time, but it's around sexuality, it's around pleasure, it's around the physical world, and the union of spirit and matter. It has to do with technology. That's the Uranus and Taurus energy, and Pluto in Aquarius. Aquarius is the sign of technology. There's a technology jump. In fact, I just saw Elon Musk gave an interview this week. I looked it up and watched it, and it was an hour long talking about AI. AI is huge. And we've been talking about it here for a very long time, but we are at that threshold where we've already tipped over. That's part of the kind of craze that's in the ethers and that's in the astral right now is this almost like an attack on the human soul and the mind with the non-coherence. It's like discord, and it's like especially those. So there's different types of humans right now. There's those who are holding the energy of the divine pattern and the divine blueprint that already know. We and most people that already know don't even need to be told. We know exactly what's unfolding and what's happening. So it's still very challenging because on one level, those people are also on the radar as threats. And so, we talk about the energetic war. I know I've used that term before, and I don't mean to get pulled into more, more false light tales, but this is it's set we're not just our body. There's a whole spectrum of consciousness. The unseen world is as real as the seen, and so a lot of these energies are working in the unseen. That's why we call it a spiritual war or an energetic war. We don't see it, but we feel it. And so that's why claiming the heart is really, really important, because the heart is the grail in that battle. You've got to own your own heart. We talked about the sovereign feminine heart in the last video. Make sure your heart is sovereign, and make sure you've activated your divine feminine. Okay. So violence, sex, deception, pollution, all of these are taking a toll through technology, isolation, media, social media. This is an unprecedented amount of this kind of like attack on the psyche. The psyche is the soul, and even the waters of the subconscious realms are being targeted for the weak links or the addictions or the places where we haven't claimed our power. There's a power grab happening with feminine energy, and so it's really important to own this energy. We talked a lot last time about the warriors and warrioresses of light, and that's spiritual light. So that's where light body yoga comes from. So okay, all right. The traumatized population becomes frozen and unable to act under the control of hypnotic narratives, violence, sex, identity confusion, political conflict, nonstop access to our hearts, our subconscious minds. This is Scorpio, and we have the lunar eclipse coming up in Scorpio in May on Cinco de Mayo on May 5th. That's huge. That's that sexual underworld energy. Okay, so we're so divided. Okay. All right. Those souls who know the divine, must know God or goddess. You have to know. We must unite and hold the light on this planet. That's why we're here, for humanity. Not all beings understand that. And it's interesting. I saw Elon Musk. He said he doesn't know if there's a soul or not. And he's so fascinating to study when he speaks. I just do a real study of his eyes, his movements, his face. And he's very, very smart. He has a computer-like mind, and I won't say too much about him, but I kind of get inside and follow what happens in his body when he speaks and in his field, and so I can feel where he's coming from, and he means that. So I can kind of see the lineage where he's coming out of, like let's say from Atlantean times, the archetypal lineage that he carries. And I would say he's on the light side of that lineage, even though there's a shadow side of that lineage as well. I can't say for sure, but meaning, yeah. Let me see what else, if I want to say anything else about him. But he was giving a big warning about it, and he's been doing that for quite a while. That we're at the tipping point, and we are. So for someone who doesn't know there's a soul, it's kind of hard for me to understand that. But that is a lot of humanity, and a lot of religions are experiencing revivals right now because people are clinging back to religion for a reason. that religion gives the structure, the community, all of these are really good things. The soul needs structure, especially during these times to kind of like anchor in. I think that there's going to be a revival of all the major world religions and that they're going to integrate new energies and the energies we work with here, and that there'll be positive spaces going forward. And so a lot of people are going back to search for the soul or to search for the divine. So not everybody can just tune in and understand that or go out into nature and just be communicated with and feel that. But that is the new human being, the new, what we call the light body humans. That's the way we communicate with each other, through the ethers, through time and space, through nature. We can communicate with nature, and so we can also see what's happening with, some of the how the energies of technology are interfering with nature as well, in the same way it's interfering with our own bodies in a very big way, and the animal kingdom. So, okay, I wrote this. This is a quote. It's a biblical quote, but I want to read. I wrote this down, and then I have a little more to read. Okay. We must be united. Okay. Beings understand that there is a living presence, a living fire within you. It's the spirit. That is your God self, your higher self, your God presence, your Christos. Our I am embodiment is when we know it. When we can access that, then we're embodied with our spirit. We know we don't, we can join in with other people, and we might even bow to another teacher, but we know that presence is there. And that's the presence that lights our field. So the saying is, be not afraid. I go before you always. Come, follow me, and I will give you peace. I think it's a scripture. Be not afraid. I go before you always. Come, follow me, and I will give you peace. I think it's another Jesus saying. A lot of these sayings have been coming in lately. I have a past with it, but it's your spirit. It's saying, follow me. I'm here. I go before you. Let your spirit announce your presence. Follow your own divinity, because you don't ever have to fear. That's the ultimate power of the warrior in Aries. Let's just leave it at that. The light of Aries is your spirit, it's your higher self, which gives you vision, power, sovereignty. Okay, so there's a little bit more to read. I'm going to take a look down, then I'm going to read some of this. It's really deep. Be a portal of the soul, a portal of truth, love. Understand your sexuality and claim it. There's a lot of wounds in this area on the planet, a lot of manipulation in this area on the planet. It's very real. That's some of the stuff that sometimes, yeah, there'll be a time, but yeah, there's a lot happening by the lower forces. We call them the archons. The archons are archetypal entities that run through human consciousness and that steer this ship called Gaia and the human race. I talk about them in the reading. Okay, I'm going to take a look down. Ah, Yeshua. So this was sung in my childhood church prior to the end of every mass. Yes, I know a song with that in too, Lisa. Thank you for sharing that. I love that. Okay. Hello from Poland. Oh, Poland. Poland is carrying really powerful sacred energy right now. Poland is lit on the vortex of the planet. So nice to have you here from Poland. Ah, Sareta, nice to see you. Okay. Gaining control of my perception is exactly what's been breaking through for me right now. This is Anya. So good, so powerful, amazing. Thank you for sharing that. Okay. All right. So here's a little more goddess report. Let's see where we're at. Okay. We'll go a little bit longer. There is a power. This is the goddess report, the download. There is a power within you that no force can manipulate or steal. But you must anchor your creative force and give your perception to your divine will. Surrender your perception every day at the beginning of the day. Dedicate it into oh, I cast my spirit into my I cast my body into the spirit. I forget, there's another saying come through. Cast yourself into your spirit to be held. That is the fire of desire. It's the power. And your perception will be aligned with the holy perception. The divine will is the desire of the Christos, the Christ force. The Christos is the pure power of Aries and all the fire signs. It's in Leo and Sagittarius as well. The light of the super consciousness that shines through the mind into the heart and then back into the mind for outward vision that is connected to the inner vision. So this vision joins the outer plane and the inner plane in sacred union, and that makes us whole. We're no longer when we connect to the inner plane, we also are seeing in the astral plane, and we're seeing the unseen. We see the unseen when we connect to the inner. So when you see with divine vision, you're seeing both inner and outer at the same time. And so it's gnosis, we just have to upgrade to stay in that frequency, the divine feminine frequency. It's very real and it makes you feel good, and it's an unlimited source of energy. There's a saying in a lot of scriptures, when you feel tired, the archons are gnawing at you. This kind of divine fire can make you feel alive even if you're on no sleep. And that's why a lot of people, like when they go to religion or they're born again or they go to AA, a 12-step program, they get so much energy and they're like, they feel so good. It's like falling in love. It's real. That energy is real. That's the divine will. And so that's why surrender, and just like when you go to a 12-step program and people tell their testimony of just giving it up. They're done. They just give it up and they're saved. It's just like finding religion. When you say, I'm done, I put this at the center of everything I do, this God, whatever God it is for you, and that's it. And that it's really you as the whole, as everyone. So everyone, there's only one real center for all of us. And so that's why it's a powerful place. Sometimes the mind can still be distorted and still have judgment, especially in some religious beliefs. There's some things that I believe in the revivals will be worked out. Definitely they'll be worked out. So the light of super consciousness. All right. So perception is the tool of the devil. The archons capture our perception to steal our creative force and our feminine energy by directing our desires into emptiness and confusion. We are confused. When we are confused and indecisive, we are much more controllable and very easily manipulated. When this becomes a pattern, something we're doing over and over again, trauma sets in. So that's the trauma that the human race is experiencing right now. The trauma of getting hit over and over and over. Be careful with what you consume. I have to tell myself sometimes that too, because sometimes I think because I'm operating with a lot of help and a team of deep, deep, powerful beings that I'm immune to it, but it's not true. You can't be immune to it. You have to regulate how much you take in, because sometimes if I overdo it, I'm zapped and I realize I made a mistake and took in too much. It can be corrected, but there's also the more energy you carry, you have to be really careful of that. So the archons capture, that word capture, they capture our attention. Attention is currency. If something can get your attention, it can steal your energy. So your desire force, and there's a lower desire force which connects into the lower sex matrix. So that's why social media is the most powerful tool ever invented for the forces. Most powerful thing in the world ever to ever be. It's like a dream come true to have so many people plugged in. So we used to never be as a planet all connected to information. I was thinking back to my early years in New York City, waking up, walking outside, going to the subway, getting coffee, going to the coffee shop, picking up a New York Times, glancing through it, seeing what was going on, putting it down, and then that was it. That was the only contact I would have all day with news, unless I saw newsstands. And then it was meeting people, going to the park, going and teaching classes, going on auditions, seeing people, speaking to them. Life was filled with interaction. Now every and so most a lot of people didn't even know it was in the news because they might not have chosen to pick up the New York Times that day or turn on the news before work. So very few people were tuned in, but nowadays everyone gets those hits on social media, so the whole matrix is plugged in. And that's why everybody is in it because it's divided and you have different viewpoints. There's this internal war that's happening amongst the human race because everyone is connected and plugged in like never before. That means they have access to our minds and our creative energy and our attention, our desire. It's owned, it's captured. So, and when it becomes a pattern, we get traumatized from it because we know something is not right. Aries, very important the next couple years. Claim your divine attention, that focus of the mind in Aries, claim it. Do what you need to do, but claim your power so that your heart is taken care of. And it's that divine masculine power of holding the right vision that takes care of the divine feminine heart and allows it to be safe to give birth to what is good and what is truly your divine feminine blueprint, rather than to create the images that are being fed. And think about the kinds of things that get our attention, anything like sexuality. But the thing is, it's like pornography. Eventually, it gets old. So you look at the things you're seeing now, it started here and then was here and then here and then here and then here. The level now is off the charts. The things that you just see on normal feeds are pretty out there because it has to keep getting your attention and hooking you in deeper. Okay. The easiest way to control perception is through fear and lust. Some are more prone to fear for control, and some are more prone to addiction or lust. Lust is our desire that we crave something and it excites us in that lusty kind of way. Um, so some people are different and it depends on our planetary makeup. I also recommend really understanding yourself. Astrology is really important right now because you can understand a lot about what kinds of elemental energies and planetary archetypal energies you carry. And it tells you a little bit about yourself, what hooks you, what empowers you. Why are you born? Even your sexuality, you can solve it by studying yourself rather than by surrendering to some, movement that doesn't have your best interest at this time. So sex and war are really the same vibration, fear and lust. And they're both the misuse of the goddess energy. So Aries holds the war archetype and Scorpio holds the sex archetype. The eclipse season right now that we're in falls in Aries and Scorpio. It will move to Aries and Libra, but right now, this eclipse season, we have total solar eclipse in Aries happening tonight. And then in 2 weeks, we have the lunar eclipse in Scorpio before the South Node moves out of Scorpio. Sex, it's that Pluto thing. I'm going to have everyone just take a moment for yourself to process what's going on for you right now. Where are you getting hooked or blasted? What energy of your consciousness? What is triggering you or owning you or manipulating you? What is attracting you in a good way? And just see how that might connect to the way you feel about your body, your sexuality, maybe your gender. Like where is that? Where do you fall in what? Because let me just tell you, the astral level is more dense with the law of suggestion than ever before. It's just pounding the human race, and it can be very. I keep saying this, but traumatizing, because it hurts. It hurts to not have our best interest honored. But this is the time that we were born into. There's also good things, but I'm hitting some of the shadows. Okay, so two very powerful forces, Aries and Scorpio, for controlling humanity. So the archons, these invisible entities, work through the zodiac, and so notice the zodiac is a lot of animals. It's the animal forces of the underworld, and they work through the zodiac until we've reclaimed it. they use us. And so when these like malefic planets come, the influences like a Pluto square Scorpio or Pluto squaring this, they can use that energy to pull people down into patterns of the ancient of the past of our lineage. Like the lineage of the wounds that we carry in our DNA can be activated at these times, and we can find ourselves repeating the sins of our fathers and mothers. All right. So the archons work through the zodiac to manipulate consciousness. Eclipses alter time and space. We said that. They are supercharged cosmic events that can activate bondage or liberation. So just take a moment right now. How can this Aries total solar eclipse? A solar eclipse does remove something. So if it's conjunct one of your planets or whatever house it's in, let's see, for me, it falls in my ninth house, which is my Sagittarius house. It has to do with publishing and broadcasting, has to do with information, higher information and higher studies of knowledge, even divine wisdom and justice. All right. I have to think about that for a moment. Okay. It makes sense actually a lot. Okay. So it opens a portal. Today is a portal for you to either get pulled in or to evolve. So choose to evolve. The lower realms are ruled by the ego, which is really the devil. So I might not go into this whole thing. The ego, when we think of the lower ego, is the devil. It's the archetype of the devil that whispers in our ear. The ego is always at war, and it's always having a twisted perception of what's happening. And most of us operate as human beings from that level. It serves us in basic needs of just getting us through our day, because you have to have an ego to kind of just say, hey, move over, this is my space, or hey, I want that food, or I want that water. We have a little of that. We need it. It's our animal instinct, and we need that, but it gets distorted here. So, and it's the tool of perception. So just know when you're dealing with shifting back your perception, you're surrendering the ego to open super consciousness, the divine will of Aries. The ego is always at war. It's always looking to consume and feed itself and get bigger. And if it's denying that, it's because it thinks it will be more self-righteous. It does everything to get attention and validation and be better than, even to perfect itself without really understanding, because the ego is always severed from super consciousness. We could go on with that, but I think I'll let it go. It attaches to our feminine energy of desire, and it usurps her power and light for things that give us no real substance or power, just karmic attachments that keep us on the wheel of the lower zodiac, just incarnating over and over. The deep will of the mother, Sophia, is the real power that lives inside of our soul, in our heart. She is the desire body that works through cosmic love, divine love, that gives birth to a vision that molds and shapes our reality into the divine feminine kingdom of the light body stargate. Let's see if we have time. I think I'm going to leave this. I'm just going to scan through this. Okay. Aries in truth is the knight, is the emperor, is the divine masculine being knighted by the goddess before he bows before Sophia. We all have this divine masculine within us. It's our divine masculine, our intelligence and our mind bowing before the goddess to be knighted. She taps the sword of discernment on each shoulder. To be more, okay, to see and speak the truth and the truth only, to be honest, noble, and courageous, to anchor so strongly with the Christ force, which is Aries. The holy Shekinah, that's the Kabbalistically, the holy Shekinah is also Holy Spirit and Divine Mother. It's a profound tabernacle of her energy that we're talking about. It's the sacred energy of this kingdom and the fire of love. This vibration is untouchable. The whole kingdom bows to this true power because we all share in this power. It's recognized, it's felt, this power and vision. We are all equal initiates. of this holy fire. We are individuals who love each other, and we live by a code of respect, love, power, and truth. We speak kindly to each other, not because we have to, but because we want to. We shine a light so bright, an invisible light that calls forth the forces of nature. We live for the truth because we are the truth. We are the kingdom of heaven. We listen and speak with deep reverence, love, and wisdom. The angels serve us. The forces of nature bend to serve us in our mission. The demons flee from us with fear, although they disguise themselves to initiate us and play our initiators at times. They may even serve us when we understand the highest levels of esoteric truth. The powers of Pluto hold this secret energy. For the totally pure heart, that's what I'm finishing on. The pure heart has full access. That means the heart of truth. It's very challenging to get there, but we're all on our way, and we will get glimpses of what it's like to hold truth. But when we hold truth, we're accountable for every action. We're saying, okay, I'm spiritually mature. I'm the mature feminine. I can walk with this power. I'm being gifted with a huge power, and I will be obedient to the divine fire, the spirit within me. I will keep the ego desires in check and have them serve me, but not succumb to the lower expression. Because we've already been through all that. We've already seen what emptiness it brings. We get to do it. We get to play all we want in that world. And then we're like, done. Done. Thank you. I'm done. I'm going to let that go. Okay. So one kill. Okay. Pluto can be used only by the power of Pluto can be used only by the most evil spirits or the most pure virgins of light. One kills and steals, and one regenerates, like a metaphysical temple and a fountain of cosmic light. Okay. So that's the end of this goddess report. We are in the times that are the descent of chaos on this planet. It's a metaphysical cycle that we're in that is very real. And so things are confusing, and you'll see it everywhere. I mean, you're going to see things that are so desecrating and so depraved that you can't even believe it's the human race. But this is the direction we're going in. We're going all the way to it. And so just be authentic, be true to yourself. Whoever you're meant to be, just be that. That's the age of Aquarius. Aquarius is marching to the beat of your own drum, but beware of your energy. This is all about energetics, goddess energetics. Understand the integrity of your field at all times, and you will be blessed. Even if you make a mistake, as long as you know that that's your intention, you'll be taught. You'll be elevated, and you'll be given more and more insight. You'll be privy to understanding some of the details of this thing, which are pretty intense. So claim your higher consciousness, be knighted by the Divine Mother Sophia, gather with your brethren, both seen and unseen. Don't forget the angels and your guides and all of the beings, the luminous ones, the avatars, the ascended masters, and know thyself and be love. Just be love. So this is the, I went through the whole thing. I didn't think I would. So I'm going to take a peek down. We might not do the Stargate because it's been a while. But this is about Light Body Stargate was going to be about embodiment, understanding the physical and really taking care of it. Be embodied. Take care of yourself. Dress yourself and bathe yourself with love. And look in the mirror, even when you're feeling down, and tell yourself that you're beautiful, and just claim that beauty. One day you might feel beautiful, the next day you might not, but just claim it. Because when we claim those things for ourselves, it's easier to be kind to other people. When we don't take care of ourselves, we can get caught up in the culture war and all the stuff that's really at a 10 right now. It's all the way at a max. So take care of yourself so then you can be kind to other people. Really important. All right. So good to see you. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so glad you made it. Badi Badu. I'm not sure. Is that your whole name? I love it. Badi Badu. Can you please elaborate on how dark? Yes. Okay. So the dark. She asked how the dark forces use the zodiac. So, oh, I love that Venus is all the way in today. Venus is huge. We'll be talking more about Venus as we get close to Taurus. So there's yes, the zodiac is elemental energy. It's elemental energy. It's earth, air, fire, water. And so these are the elemental energies are connected to the underworld, and then there's higher elemental streams as well. So the carnal, so that's we all are made of half animal, half divine. We're half human, half divine. The soul is an admixture. It comes in, it goes through different layers. There's more than there's actually more than just two parts, but it's too deep to go into right now. But there's a part of our nature that's animalistic. We just roam like animals, and there's nothing wrong with animals. The animals are actually more the true animal matrix is higher than our animal matrix because it's in it's connected to the Gaian matrix. It's operating as a whole, whereas our animal instinct we're not even operating. We're operating from the zeitgeist that come over us when we go to war, when we have, all these different collective energies that come in. But so the archons, what they do is they latch onto the animal side of our nature and pull us through temptation. So you might have heard of the last temptation of Christ. This is all archetypal and allegorical. So Christ in the desert goes out. It's so symbolic. The Christ goes into the desert and is tempted by the devil that whispers in his ear, if you do, I forget what he asked for, but because if you give me this or bow to me or do one thing, I will give you all of this kingdom. As far as you can see, it will be yours. And gosh, I can't remember the whole story now. What does he say? It doesn't happen. Gosh, the language is really powerful. I wish I could remember it. It's not coming to me. But the Christ basically denies it and says, "No, get out of here, Satan. You do not tempt me." So it's Satan tempting Jesus in the desert. It's a famous scripture story in the New Testament. That is the mind. That is the archontic force tempting us with whether it's addiction or whether it's to deceive another human being in a love relationship or to misuse the power of money or corporations or anything like that. I mean, that carnal desire to just have power and money and control from from the unenlightened side, that's how the archons work. They tempt you. I want more, more, more. And then they use the cosmic influences in the zodiac, the transits. So right now, Pluto is just entered Aquarius, the sign of technology, so that can be used. It entered for the first time, and there's a lot of positive things that can come too. Humanity claiming their power, but that influence can be used to implement, a negative use of AI. That would be an example, or to square the nodes, which are our collective karmic destiny and our collective karmic past, and to pull us more into the old ways rather than claiming the evolution of the North Node in Taurus is about claiming the true relationship with our planet Gaia, coming into harmonious relationship with nature, understanding how to hear nature. The esoteric truth of Gaia is our inner teacher. She's really a teacher. She's the goddess in embodiment. So the archons could use the transit of Uranus through Taurus to really implement because Uranus is going to create revolutions and uprisings and upheavals. We can either have good upheavals that choose good, or we can have things that choose bondage. And so that they work through the planetary transits. I hope that answers the question. How we can use it for positive is to use the powers of these use the power. Everything we've just talked about is using the power of Aries for this total solar eclipse to get rid of something we don't need anymore and keep choosing higher vision. Choose higher vision and choose the heart. River Moon, where did the archons come from? That's a really good question. So the archons are created there's many different ways we can look at it. And I just want to be really clear. I was actually shown this earlier today. There's different things written about the archons, and some are connected to different kinds of some conspiracies or things that are not in alignment with where we come in here. So I just want to say that's all. That's all I'm going to say. So the archons are, think about it this way. The moon has the capacity to build entities. So the psyche of humans, when we're working with lunar energy, like the new and the full moons, we build up entities that become vivified and ensouled. So some of the old pantheons of the gods and goddesses were actually built through the consciousness of the soul, that when you worship an entity, you build that form, and it becomes a living and souled god or goddess. And so in the lower realms. And so these archons were part of when the desire force, which is the door into matter, fell and started to grasp at the goods of the underworld and let go of some of our other higher powers, we surrendered to the lower forces and we made them our rulers. We did an inversion. We made the forces that we were meant to rule over us. So we're living in an inversion where those energies became lords. I call them the lords of lust or the lords of darkness. By darkness, we mean just the soul being blinded and captured. So they work through temptation, and they work through feminine energy, like sexual energy. When part of our alchemy to resurrect in this world is to understand our goddess energetics. And they, I just realized, I can't believe I forgot. I have some people on Zoom right now waiting for me. So, and we're going to start to close this out. So, okay. So that the way we do our alchemy is we get our energetic house in order. And when we neglect to do that on the path of learning, that energy becomes siphoned and used to create more bondage, because it creates a mirror image of the true kingdom is the underworld. And the underworld is where human consciousness is trapped right now. And all you need to do to understand that is to look at the suffering on this planet and the discord on this planet to understand that this isn't the highest potential for the human race at all. And there's a lot happening that's going to keep pushing us to awaken. And so the true path of this wisdom is to claim that. And so I just invite each and every one of you, whatever your beliefs are, to claim the good. And to claim the good, take care of yourself, and keep joining with people who are building what is good. Eventually we'll get things worked out to where we don't have to have disagreements over certain things, because the truth will be revealed. But right now, like that Yoga Sutra, share happiness with other happy people and go around what is evil. Just kind of go around it. Unless you have something to contribute, that's part of your mission, go around it. Keep your vessel strong. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else with the archons. There's a whole mythology around them. On the astral level, they're very real, and they can take shape and show up as some very, very unpleasant and some, beings. And so they have on different dimensions, they will show up in different ways. In this world, it's through lust and through our carnal cravings. That's how they mostly work. Okay. Does anybody else want to say anything before I close out? I went through an experience with social media. I chose it, but didn't expect to be this capturing. Will write about it. Hope to be strong enough to do that. Yeah. Thank you for naming. Yeah. It's really big. Oh, so nice to see you, Lotus. Thank you for your hearts. Okay, let's close out. Thank you so much. It's so nice to see everyone. If anyone else wants to say hi really quick, please do. All right, so let's just take a moment. We ask for a blessing. This was a lot of speaking, a lot of talking. I didn't know if I would be able to come on today, because it's been in the work I do specifically on the personal level. is takes me so far in that sometimes sometimes the energy, I just have to hold it. Right now, it's gonna be a little bit, sporadic until later in May that I come on. I'm gonna be hopefully come on soon, but this is really deep times, and for my work, really specifically, it's very deep, and I have to follow the inner guidance with being able to come on and do video, so I'm happy I was able to do it today. And so I just ask that everybody who hears these words be touched in whatever way serves you on the highest, highest path of your soul. If there's anything that is not meant for you or that causes confusion for you, may it be released immediately into the fire. If there are any things that are meant to be held and they're going to plant seeds for you and find fertile ground for the future, may they be protected and nurtured until they are ready to grow and bloom and become flowers in this field. I call forth the power of the Divine Mother, the cosmic Christ Sophia energy, which is the divine supreme goddess energy, to connect with the Earth Mother and the goddess within all of our hearts, that we may own and respect our bodies and be in charge of our own vehicles, our own minds, our own consciousness, and the creative energy of desire that emanates from our own hearts. May we all find and know the truth of our identity as the divine love. And so I send everybody who's gathered here today huge, huge, huge blessings. And until we meet again, namaste. The eclipse is tonight at 9:12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I recommend you drink lots of water and that you meditate and do a little writing of what you want to eclipse out of your life and how you want to claim your power for these times. I will see you again. I will be back for the Scorpio lunar eclipse. I'm not sure exactly when, but I'll post it. So thank you so much. Much love to you. Much love to you, Robin. Oh, I see you jumped off and came in to find me. Okay. Many, many blessings and namaste until we meet again.